Hey, welcome in this evening. I'm Lizzie Arbogast, sports editor at Tallapoosa Publishers, alongside managing editor Santana Wood. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. We're actually going to talk a little bit about sports tonight. So
Doesn't that excite you?
it really does. There's like this light at the end of the tunnel that maybe there will be sports again soon.
Yes, I heard that the Auburn University president made a strong claim that Auburn football will be back this fall. And obviously that's not something that's been officially decided or not, but I
Yeah,
think
and
everybody's hopefully got the mentality that football will be back and things will be normal.
yeah, and he doesn't actually make that call,
No.
but we'll just go with it. We'll just go with it. But what we did hear today is we got a little bit of an update from the Alabama High School Athletic Association, which has been hard at work coming up with contingency plans. And they actually met with State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey earlier this week, who is hopeful that not only athletics can continue or start, but that campuses in general can reopen on June 8th.
Yeah, and then start the school year as planned. The State Department of Education is working on some health and safety guidelines for schools to reopen and said that it should have more information available on or before next Friday. So I know that's something that obviously parents and students as well are very curious to be able to find out. So I'm interested to see what comes out of that announcement.
Yeah, and so some of those things that have been discussed are just, the possibility of limiting numbers of students that can be on campus. If they are going to be there, it sounds like, potentially they'll be in non-interchangeable groups, which basically just means if you're with, X, Y, and Z, you have to be with X, Y, and Z always. And also the overall number of groups, which would also obviously affect athletics.
Also, on the sports side, the AHSAA will then reconvene and put more plans into place. At this time, a couple things have been decided. First of all, there will be no summer competition. That means no play dates, no 7-on-7s, no OTAs.
Yeah, so I had that actually clarified that basically means that teams can only work out when they're allowed to, if they're allowed to, with their own players. As always, under the AHSAA bylaws, that has to be voluntary. You can't have mandatory summer workouts. That's always been a thing. I also did clarify that does not at this time include the North-South All-Star Week. That hopefully they're going to have a plan for by next week is what I was told. So, although summer competition obviously sounds like that's not at this time included.
Also, one other thing that has been decided for winter and spring sports, which would have typically already done their evaluations, they can either do their evaluation period during school, which would be the first 2 weeks for winter and after that for spring, or start practice a week early. They cannot do both.
Yeah, so that's just for this year. If you'll remember, about a week ago, there was a new bylaw put into place that fall sports could either have a training period, a spring evaluation period, or start practice a week earlier. And that's for forever, at least for the 2-year cycle of which bylaws are in place for. And that the spring and winter sports that Santana just mentioned are just for this year to make up for the time that they've already lost. So basically in all this, it seems like everybody's hopeful that June 8th, and this doesn't just apply to sports. There's obviously a lot of other summer activities, summer school, things like that. But we are hopeful that by the end of the next week, we'll know a lot more about what's to come for education and for sports in our state.
Yeah, we will let you guys know as soon as those plans are announced, of course. We also tonight want to give y'all an update on the latest coronavirus case numbers. But before that, we want to talk about an update we got from Dadeville Healthcare today. 23 residents have tested positive for the coronavirus, and there have been 3 deaths of residents who had a positive COVID-19 test result. Also, 8 staff members who have tested positive who are quarantined at home.
Yeah, so we've got that information up on our website. Also, check it out in tomorrow's Outlook for more details on that. As far as the statewide numbers go, actually a little bit scary tonight. There are now 11,101 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. And that's an increase of 401 since our show last night, which is pretty by far the largest one-day increase in Alabama since the first reported case back in March.
Yeah, the previous one-day high increase was 355 in 24 hours. So this is 401 added in the last 24 hours. Really quite a big increase, the biggest increase the state has seen yet in a 24-hour period. Also, 473 reported deaths. That's an increase of 23 since our show last night.
Yeah, and obviously those testing numbers are going up. People keep asking us, well, of course they're going to go up with the testing numbers. So we are working on getting some data on that, some correlation. We just haven't been tracking it long enough to see if that's, making a difference. But kind of scary that it is that large of a one-day increase. Locally, Tallapoosa County is now at 345 cases, which is an increase of 7. Also 56 deaths, which is an increase of 5.
Also in Elmore County, an increase of 12 since last night, now at 169 positive cases and 6 deaths. That's an increase of 1 death as well.
And for Coosa County, unfortunately, there was another increase after a couple of days of no increases, now at 34 cases, still just that 1 death. So just wanted to give you guys an update there on all that. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to talk some local news. All right, welcome back. We appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm Lizzie Arbogast, sports editor at Tallapoosa Publishers, alongside managing editor Santana Wood. We did give you guys a little update on education, sports, the numbers for the evening. So we want to dig into some local news for you guys as well.
In Tallapoosa County, Benjamin Russell has announced new graduation plans. A lot of people were questioning if they were going to change their plans after Governor Ivey's most recent announcement last week. So they have announced these new plans. It will be done on the football field on Thursday night. There will actually be 2 ceremonies with 100 graduates each, one at 5:30 p.m. and one at 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, and each graduate's going to have 6 family members, be limited to 6 family members, also 2 cars. There's a lot of strict guidelines about where to park, where to sit, things like that. So make sure that you read that. That's also on our website currently, also will be in the Outlook tomorrow. A lot of details there. And also got clarification that in case of rain, they will move. There is no makeup date. They will move that back to the auditorium plan originally scheduled, which will be next Friday morning. You can also read more about that on our website as well.
Also in Tallapoosa County, the Elks Lodge got a pretty serious makeover recently and is hoping to host a grand opening soon. Some of the renovations include a new bar, updated tables and chairs, which are currently spaced for social distancing, patio additions, a remodeled kitchen, brand new coolers, new sound system, and more. Definitely looks nice over there. You can read more about that in tomorrow's Outlook and also see some photos as well.
Yeah, so they did a ton of work. I think it looks really good. Also in Elmore County, the Town of Eclectic Trade Days, which is always a pretty big event, will take place on Saturday. They're going to have social distancing in place for the vendors and the customers that'll be there, but there'll be about 25 to 30 vendor booths, and it sounds like it'll be a good opportunity, for just people to get out, been stuck at home for several weeks or months, and just kind of participate in an outdoor event and support some local businesses as well.
Yeah, I know they're excited to have that back in place. I've been to trade days a few times, and it's always interesting, the little things that you will find over there. So definitely check that out if you're in the area and get out and have some fun there. Also in Tallaasee's Community Library announced it will hold its summer reading program still, but will have some limitations. Registration for that will begin Monday, and classes will start in June. Classes will be limited to 25 children. This is designed for kids ages 2 to 9. They're also doing a grab and go program so that children can participate virtually as well. So you can read more about that in the Tallahassee Tribune and on our website as well.
So, want to end on a high note, as always. The Alexander City Splash Pad should be open by May 26th. The project includes some fountains and a bucket drop for kids, plus a shade pavilion for parents. But it's going to be totally free to use. Something great for kids, especially right now as those kids are looking for something to do. I actually drove up to the Sportplex today to take photos at the stadium. There was already a couple of kids out there. I think they might have been relatives of the guys working, but nonetheless, it looks like they were having fun, especially with it getting so hot. It'll be a fun little place for kids and parents too.
Yeah, that's something that's been on Parks and Rec Director Sonny Wilson's wish list for about 7 years, and finally able to see it come to fruition. I know that people are excited to see that come together as well. So as always, we want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We appreciate the support, appreciate our viewers, and we are going to actually take a break from our show tomorrow night and instead see you next week. So continue to follow us on our websites and pick up our papers for the latest news. Again, I'm Santana Wood, Managing Editor, alongside Lizzie Arbogast, Sports Editor, and we will see you next week.